Here, studying Srimad Bhagavatam daily, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're finishing coming to the end of the beautiful pastime of Sudama Brahmana. And this is a 10th canto, chapter 81. We're reading text number 26 through 28. Patirata patim drishtva premon kanta shrulochana militaksha anadputya manasa parish shashvaje. Translation: When the chaste lady saw her husband, her eyes filled with tears of love and eagerness. As she held her eyes closed, she solemnly bowed to him and in her heart embraced him. Patim Bhiksha Vispurantim Devim Vaimanikim Iva Dashinam Nikshakantena Madhye Bhantim Vismitaha. Sudama was amazed to see his wife shining forth in the midst of maidservants adorned with jeweled lockets. She looked as effulgent as a demigoddess in her celestial airplane. This is a purport that they quote Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, who explains that up to now the Supreme Lord had kept the Brahmana in his wretched state so his wife could recognize him. Prita swayam taya ukta pravishto nija mandiram manistamba shatopetam mahendra bhavanam yata. He took pleasure with his wife and entered his house. Actually, it's interesting the word that they use for house here. They use the word mandir, temple. Man is mind. Dhir means peaceful, comes where the mind becomes peaceful. Where there were hundreds of gem-studded pillars, just as in the palace of Lord Mahendra. So this is the purport. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur comments that Sudama was simply astonished at the sight of his wife, as he wondered, who is this demigod's wife, who's approached such a fallen soul as me? The maidservants informed him, this indeed is your wife. At that very moment, Sudama's body became young and beautiful, bedecked with fine clothing and jewelry. The word prita indicates that these changes gave him considerable pleasure. The famous Thousand Names of Vishnu hymn of the Mahabharata immortalizes Sudama's sudden opulence in the following phrase: Shri Dhamaranka Bhaktartha Bhumi Antindriya Vaibhava. Lord Vishnu is also known as he who has brought Indra's opulence to this earth for the benefit of his pitiful devotee, Sridhama, Sudama. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadambayam Dadati Swapadantikam Katanchana Smite Yasmin Dushkaram Shukaram Bhavet Vishmite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. So you see the wife of Sudama, it's as if she is not waking from a dream, but waking to a dream. She woke up and the entire place has been changed. We're often in a dream. We wake up to our regular reality, but she's waking up to a completely different reality. And Sudama, as you've heard in the previous purports, he wasn't informed of this change because Krishna felt that his reciprocation was not um, in proportion to the reciprocation of Sudama, that he was embarrassed to even share what he has given to Sudama because Sudama gave more than he had, and Krishna felt, how can I give more than I have? So one maybe ask this question. We see that as Vaishnavas, we're actually quite cautious to accept great opulences. We're quite cautious to um, accept wealth and fame and position and praise. And here it's saying that Sudama was very happy when he received these, when he came home and he saw this beautiful palace. We find that it was either Raghunath Das or Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. They said that even 1 rupee, if you gave him 1 rupee, he felt it was such a burden. He would be, if he took one, it was too heavy. So why is Sudama happy? Now there are many various pastimes of the Lord which are very famous. But the most famous are, what are the two most famous pastimes? What pastimes of Krishna are so well known throughout India? You have story of Rasalila and this story right here, the story of Sudama Brahmana. These two stories are practically the most popular pastimes of Krishna, most well known. But they're also the most misunderstood pastimes, the pastimes of the gopis, and particularly even the pastime of Sudama. One will take it as this is some like karma kanda. You do something, a little something, and you get something, and it's just a, a, the purpose of some type of prosperity gospel. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, there are 4 different reasons why one may approach divinity, and the worst, the lowest is fear. Just like there are different reasons why a child may do chores around the house, or they may help out around the house. The lowest inspiration is out of fear. Then the second is some prospect. I'll get some money, I'll get some allowance. One may take the Sudama pastime to be on that level. Then the third is out of duty, some gratitude. And the fourth is out of genuine affection. Actually, uh, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his book Sri Krishna Samhita, he says something very curious. He says, Hare Krishna mantra is not a prayer. This is very curious, very curious. Actually, first you find the description of the primary and secondary names of the Lord in the Jaiva Dharma. It describes that they're primary names and they're secondary names. So secondary names are names that deal with the Lord's interaction with matter, like Brahman and Paramatma. You can chant Brahman, you can chant Paramatma. And there may be some effect, but you won't get the supreme spiritual destination by that. You won't get the supreme spiritual goal by chanting Paramatma or Brahman. And primary names deal with the Lord in his transcendental state. And most primary is the Lord's names that deal with his activities, his loving activities with his devotees. And so there describes that there are actually different names that are appreciated in the different yugas. So in Satya Yuga, they chant names like Narayan, and those when they chant, those names are full of Shanta ras, appreciation that is just like we have the five flavors of fondness, the 5 types of affectionate relationships. And so the first is Shanta, which is admiration. It is like someone likes a particular rock star or a band. They have some admiration. But they don't even have a relationship of service, but just an admiration. Shanta, with a little bit of dasya. Those are names that are how the names of the Lord are chanted in Satyuga. In Treta Yuga, they're chanted with Sakya, with dasyaras, with servitude, and a little bit of sense of friendship. Those are names like let's see. There's I think there, yeah, it even has Krishna's name that are there, but it's those names are chanted in a mood of dasya ras, with a little so servitude and a little bit of friendship. And then in Dwapara Yuga, Krishna's Leela, the names are primarily chanted with the four lower rasas, Santa, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya, with admiration, servitude, friendship, and even parental affection. But in Kali Yuga, the names that are chanted, that are primarily chanted, are full of madhurya. This is the most intimate form of love. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, actually, this Maha Mantra, there's no prayer in this mantra. Well, what does he mean by that? He says, provocation for all rasas mixed with intimate attachment is found in this mantra. There's no mention of the Lord's prowess or giving liberation. The Maha Mantra doesn't say anything about giving liberation. The mantra reveals only that a soul has an incredible, indescribable attraction for the super soul by the thread of love. And these names are the mantra for those who are on the path of Madhurya Rasis. And then he continues, all spiritual activities of swan-like people, such as worshiping the deity, following vows, studying the scripture, all these are included in the holy names, the Hare Krishna mantra. There's no consideration of time, place, candidate for chanting this mantra. Chanting this mantra doesn't even depend on the instructions of Guru or worshiping a deity for some reward. And then he continues, he clarifies this means that chanting this mantra, there should be no complex scientific consideration. So, for example, previously the Brahmanas could chant mantras to light the fire of the yajna. And this was done by uh, very complex, sophisticated sound technology that was not based on the intention, but based on the specific ability to chant precisely. Like you have the story of Vishram, what is the great demon that was created? Who was Chichiketu? What is that? Vish.
Vritra, Vritra.
Vitrasur, yes, yes. And he was created. The intention was not to create a demon that would be killed by Indra, but it wasn't. Those mantras were not about intention. They were about the very specific, complex, scientific um, creation that was done. Um, but this mantra, he says, there's no complex scientific consideration, no useless argument, on any type of direct or indirect prayer. And he says, if there's any prayer at all, it is just to increase one's love. So generally, a prayer often is a sense of consideration of how can I be benefited, how can I gain. Now we find that Sudama Brahmana, he accepted this just as one will accept the prasadam of the Lord. So if you receive a beautiful garland from Radha Murlidhar, you feel ecstatic. This is the garland. This is worn by the Lord. This is the Lord's mercy. You eat some Mahaprasad from the Lord. You accept it with great happiness. And so Sudama Brahmana, he was accepting all this as as great happiness. Last uh, Saturday, we had the Soul Talks, and there was a Indian lady there named Nagma, and I always ask people what their names, and often I ask what their names mean. So she said that her name means a love song. I was like, that's exactly what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here. That this Maha Mantra, it's not a request for uh, to improve my position in a sense, not a prayer in that sense. It's only can I improve my love. And so here I will share a little bit about. So Sudama Brahmana, his pastime is actually a pastime of not gaining material nice material situation, but his pastime is about the loving reciprocation between him and the Lord. Not that I give and I get. And so you have this same personality. He's appearing in Lord Chaitanya's Leela as Shuklambara Das Brahmachari. And Shuklambara Das Brahmachari was very, very poor. Not only he was very, very poor, but he himself considered himself an outcast, and even others. Nobody even knew who he was. But when Lord Chaitanya went to Gaya, and he let me see, one second. I had Bhima send me a text message. I think if Bhima is here, is he here? Bhima, I sent it last night. It should be there last night. Is he listening? He's asking for something related to the work. So Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, Lord Chaitanya, he went to Gaya and he was transformed by the experience. He was completely transformed. The the he he met Ishvar Puri, but even before meeting Ishvar Puri, he went there for doing the what's called the Pinda or the Shrad ceremony for his father, and he was completely transformed. And when he came back to Navadvip, actually, he didn't even want to go back to Navadvip. He wanted to go straight to Mathura. And he was on his way. He says, I'm going to Mathura. He was on his way. And he heard a voice. And the voice said, no, you will go and share all this wealth that you have gained in Navadvip. That you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you've come here for this mission. And you'll have to go to Vrindavan later. Yeah, and so he went straight to Navadvip. And in Navadvip, everyone was forlorn. Everyone was missing the association of Lord Chaitanya. His students and his mother and his Vishnu Priya, everyone was there waiting for this most attractive Supreme Lord to come back. But he comes back in a completely different state. He's crying, he's weeping, and all the devotees are hearing that Lord Chaitanya is now a devotee of the Lord. He's no longer a Nayaka, a logician, and a great Brahmana scholar. He's become no longer is he full of great arrogance and great erudition, but rather he is full of very 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 deep humility. And so they all gather to see him. And he was sharing about his transformation. But he said, actually, I don't want to share this too publicly. All of you, I want you to come to the house of Shuklambara Das Brahmachari. So Suklambara is Sudama the Brahmana. This is his appearance in Gaura Lila. And so um, he comes back. And he's there at the house of Shuklambara Das Brahmachari, and Gadadhar Pandit also he hears this. So Gadadhar he heard that Lord Chaitanya has also now become a devotee, and so he comes there not directly. He's hiding. He's wanting to see. Okay, what is previously he's chanting all these other mantras. He is engaging in debates. I want to see what kind of mantras. What are the things that are coming out of his mouth now? How is he transformed? And so he goes there and he shares. He said, I want to share my heart. Actually, I want to share my misery, my longing for the Lord. And so he starts speaking and he goes into great, great ecstasy. And the devotees he's crying and dancing. And the devotees are becoming transformed by the situation. He grabs onto, like there's a pillar in the house. He grabs onto the pillar thinking, where's Krishna? Where is Krishna? He grabs onto the pillar and he crushes the pillar and he falls to the ground. And Shuklambara Das Brahmachari is wiping his tears. And he's thinking, oh, how fortunate am I? And Lord Chaitanya, he wakes up and he sees Gadadhar Pandit and he says, uh, uh, You are the most fortunate to Gadadhar Pandit. He says, I've wasted my life engaging in debate and as a logician just studying all these dry literature. From your very beginning of your life, you've been attached to the Lord, but I have wasted my life. And in this way, he's sharing. Let me see some notes here. So Lord Chaitanya is dancing and they're having kirtan, his dancing in ecstasy. And Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, he's dancing. And he is dancing, he's like jumping, his head is like practically touching the ceiling. He's jumping up and dancing. And he has this like chutter bag. You could take one of these chutters that we throw around. And you can tie the four corners, and then you tie those corners together, and it makes a nice little bag. You see people in India do that. And so in that bag, he kept this particular type of rice. So this rice is um, so when the farmers are or when those who are at the market they sell the rice. They have the rice that has been like milled, that has been separated from the husk, but then there is some that is left behind, and that broken piece of rice is there, and the poor people, they buy that broken piece of rice. But then there is another level of rejected of a rejected part of that. So the rejection of the rejection, and that's the rice so that Shuklambar Das Brahmachari would keep in his bag. He would beg that from the poor people. He was very, very poor. Kuda, that's what they call this rice. So he would be dancing and dancing and dancing, and it's like as if his bag is also dancing. So the rice is popping out of the bag and it's coming out, and then they're dancing and dancing, and they're having a beautiful kirtan, and then they see Lord Chaitanya is on the floor, and Shuklambar Das Brahmachari is continuing to dance, and everyone stops dancing except for Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, and everyone's looking, what is Lord Chaitanya doing? And once they get Shuklambar Das Brahmachari's attention, Lord Chaitanya, he says, give me that rice, give me that rice. And Shukambari says, no, no, this is not suitable. He said, actually, for ages, I've waited to take this rice. Uh, in Dwarka, you gave me this rice, and I felt that I could not repay the debt that I received from you. So now I'm going to give you something I couldn't give you in Dwarka. I didn't give you at that time. And so I want to actually make you very wealthy. And so, uh, in this way, Lord Chaitanya transformed Shuklambar Das Brahmachari. So now he was not just dancing, but he was crying in ecstasy, just like Lord Chaitanya. So he was giving him the wealth of Krishna Prema. So this is one pastime that this is so the whole pastime of Lord Chaitanya revealing the transformation that his ecstasy, this whole transformation of we find that not just the Lord, but even his devotees, even though they're exalted devotees from not their only their past lives, but even from the spiritual world, they do manifest the Leela, the pastimes of transforming into devotees. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has done this. Srila Prabhupada, although born a devotee, practicing a devotee, he had a transformational experience by meeting his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so Lord Chaitanya, after returning from Gaya, uh, this is he decided, where am I going to reveal the great ecstasies of this transformation? This will take place at Sudama's house, that's the house of Shuklambara Das Brahmachari. So there's another pastime of Shuklambara Das Brahmachari. He told Lord Chaitanya once. He told him, he said, "Today I will take lunch at your house." Now, look, Shrikant Das Brahmachari was a very, very poor guy. He just had maybe just one mud pot. And maybe he didn't even have, he had maybe some of that rejected rice. And Lord Chaitanya, he said, "Oh, don't joke with me like that. Don't joke with me." And he said, "No, no, I'm coming to your house today. I'm going to come to your house. You please feed me, and I'm going to bring my students as well." And so now he was realizing, oh, the Lord is not joking with him, and he was in great anxiety. So he started asking devotees. He started begging, and he got this. This is called toad. It's like the inner stem of the banana tree, which tastes a little bit like banana, not so much. Has some of the nutrients, but it's kind of, this is like the uh, inexpensive things that poor people will cook. And so he was feeling so fallen, and he was feeling so confused. And so he asked the devotees, "What should I do? What should I do?" And one devotee said, "If you feel so um, unqualified, then you should, and untouchable, then you should cook the food without touching it." And he's okay. And he started working on that. He started picking up the rice without touching it, using like some uh, cloth or some utensil. He gathered the water without touching it. All these different steps of cooking. He cut this banana tree stem without touching it. And so not the rice, but it was like the rejected of the rejected. And so he's cooking like this. And Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, is watching this. And he's not going to even touch the rice to test. Is this actually cooked properly? Is it hard? Is it soft? She said, "How can my Lord eat this? How can my Lord eat this? First of all, the ingredients are uh, so poor." And so with her glance, she glanced upon the rice. And that rice became the most valuable rice in the entire universe. And all of Navadvip became filled with the beautiful aroma of this wonderful rice. And so Lord Chaitanya, appeared there with his all of his students, and he was, "What have you made? What have you made? This is so wonderful." Let's see some notes here. The Lord then he offered to the Ganges, and he offered the food, and then uh, although this was just a small pot, the Lord Chaitanya, the mystical aspect of the pastime, there's so many mystical aspects of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, but the one mystical aspect is that this little pot fed all of Lord Chaitanya's students and himself, so much so that everyone became so full that they decided to take a nap at the house of Shuklam Das Brahmachari. And so they all took a nap, a great deep slumber. And Lord Chaitanya was sleeping next to one student named Vijay Das. This student was like this is called the Ankurya. This is like um, the teacher's assistant. Like every teacher, they might have some teachers, they have a teacher assistant. And the teacher's assistant's kind of like a Xerox copy. He makes all the copies for the work, he distributes to the students and such. And so this Vijaya, he would do that for Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya would give the lesson, and he would take the notes, and then he would distribute those notes amongst all the students. He would, uh, make copies of those notes and distribute to those notes to all the students. And so he was laying next to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya was asleep, and he was asleep. And Lord Chaitanya, he turns, and his arm falls on Vijaya Das's stomach. And Vijaya Das feels like the entire universe is now on his stomach. And he opens his eyes, and he sees a long, beautiful, bluish arm bedecked with great ornaments and jewelry. Not just like a long arm, like Krishna's arms are long, but universally long, like extending for a long, long, like miles and such. And he's feeling this great weight, and he's trying to yell and surprise. And that and as he's starting to yell, Lord Chaitanya says, "Don't you tell anybody about this." Don't you tell anybody about this. But Vijay, he's in such ecstasy that he just starts dancing and dancing and crying and dancing. And he ends up in this kind of maddened state for 7 days. He's in this ecstatic trance of just dancing and crying. Actually, one Prabhupada disciple, Mother Mahabhagavata, she used to run the temple in Portland, her and her husband, Kshetragya. And she had a dream that she was in a river, or no, in the ocean. And she's in the ocean in a boat. And after some time, Lord Jagannath starts floating past her. And she's like, oh, Lord Jagannath. And then comes Balaram, comes floating past her. And then in the distance, she sees something, and then she sees actually this brilliant personality. But first, she just sees the arm of this personality, and it's the arm of Subhadra Devi. And this arm is so beautiful. It's bedecked with jewelry, but it's not just fancy jewelry. Just her arm is such a sight to look at that she had this intuition in the dream that she could see the whole body. But just looking at this arm was such a beautiful sight that she was completely satisfied. And so this was the arm of Subhadra. And so this is uh, the forms of the Lord and and his dear associates. They're so majestically beautiful. So this devotee, he is like this, and he's in ecstasy, having seen the arm of the Lord who was resting on his stomach, and he was turned into ecstasy for 7 days straight. So all this happened. He wasn't even eating. He was just dancing and in this ecstatic situation for 7 days, 7 nights. And so all this happens in the house of Shuklambar Das Brahmachari. These are these are the pastimes of him in as Sudama and Gauralila. So when the associates of the Lord appear in Gauralila, also the Vrindavan associates appear within their bodies. So that therefore, when you hear the descriptions of Kavi Kanipur, um, where he describes this associate is an incarnation of one, two, maybe even three personalities. So that the associates, like so that Sudama Brahmana, who was Sudama went to the Gurukul with Krishna. That was not a Vrindavan associate. So he could experience the ecstasy of the Vrindavan associates. The Vrindavan associates appear within the body of such devotees. So Sudama, Shuklambar Das Brahmachari is also considered an incarnation of one of the wives of the Yogic Brahmanas. And these wives, they would hear the gopis um, selling their goods. Now the gopis, how did they sell their goods? They didn't really sell their goods. They glorified Krishna so much. You heard this beautiful song, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, that they would, in trying to sell their goods, they would just begin chanting the names of Krishna and experiencing the loving attachment that the gopis had for Krishna. These Yogic Brahmanas, the wives of the Yogic Brahmanas, also developed a great attachment for Krishna. And they also wanted to serve Krishna and feed Krishna, just like the gopis were. And because of this attachment that the Yogic Brahmana, wives of the Yogic Brahmanas had, then Krishna also, he wanted to accept their devotion and accept their food. Therefore, he had his cowherd boys come and beg the prasad from them. And so, let me see. Uh, so Lord Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, he would ask, "Where is Krishna?" And so Lord Chaitanya explains, this is This is actually explained in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Brihad Bhagavatamrita. This is the verse. Yasya Shri Bhagavato Prapto Utkata Ichato Yato Bhavet. That your Lord Chaitanya, Krishna has obtained someone who has great attachment. That you associate with that person who has great attachment, and then you gain that attachment yourself. And so this is this wealth that was given to Sudama, that he became uh, Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, this great love of Krishna. Actually, he was not given wealth. We find that he gave Lord Chaitanya rice, and he was not given wealth. Rather, Lord Chaitanya said, "You will become a beggar, life after life after life, and I will become to your house and get. I will eat your rice, life after life after life, incarnation after incarnation. I will come." Because that's the real benediction, that we become hungry for the wealth of love. And so when one gets this love, also one becomes a beggar. Just not just um, a poor person. One actually begs Krishna, let me distribute this wealth. Like you have the example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, you don't see beautiful, kind of material scenes. Where's the ocean? Where's the great cliffs? Where's the big mountains? But yet so many people go to Vrindavan because there is some beauty there that is mystically there, because it is Krishna's pastime place. And Srila Prabhupada, he left Vrindavan because he was begging to distribute Krishna's love to others. And so Srila Prabhupada became the wealthiest beggar. And so we're also, when we become more, the more we have this love of God, the more we will want to actually distribute it to others, and we become beggars. We will beg Krishna, please help me. Please help me to distribute whatever I've gained, please help me to distribute to others. And we become great, great beggars. So here's some thoughts about Shuklambar Das Brahmachari, who is a form of Sudama Brahmana in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. So Om Tat Sat, thanks a lot. If there are any reflections, comments, or questions, please share. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Wonderful class, wonderful subject matter. Okay, Temple Room. Would you like to reflect? It's hard to add to a class like that. That's why we're asking you, Adipusha Prabhu.
Well,
Can't hear you.
I don't have anything. You can hear me? Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
yeah.
I don't have anything to say except what I pray to Srila Prabhupada what to contribute. It's impossible to contribute to a class like that that's about the whole universe and about levels of ecstasy and, Krishna's pastime. We have about a minute and a half.
7:55.
7:55. Okay, we have 5 minutes. All right, one comment, not to anything to contradict anything that you just said, which was like perfect and exalted beyond belief. But you said that the devotees sometimes hesitate to accept opulence, that there might be some caution. That's the word you use, caution. Remember that? You mentioned that? I was thinking about Srila Prabhupada. He said, and that's true, totally true. But on another angle of vision, Srila Prabhupada said, when you offer Lakshmi to a Mayavadi, they say, oh, I cannot touch money. Oh, no, 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 no. But Prabhupada said, if somebody offers me Lakshmi, I take it. I will take it and I will use it in Krishna's service. And so that's a very simple philosophical point, that we are aware of the fact that there's a possibility of misuse or contamination or overindulgence when given something. But on the other hand, when we take it for the sake of pushing on Lord Chaitanya's movement, there is no fear, there is no hesitation, that Prabhupada went like this: I will take it and I will use it to serve Krishna. So that's all I can say. Some little snippet, not too complex, but hard. Over to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, this is how you know if this person is a devotee. Give them money and see what they're going to do with it. If they're going to reject, that's Mayavadi. If they take it and use it in Lord Chaitanya's movement, that's a devotee.
There are
What if
other.
they take it and misuse it and get confused and fall down?
Well, there's one of the in the Dhammapada. It says, better to eat a red hot molten iron ball than to misuse alms given for the sake of uh, dharmic activity. So it's if you misuse a donation, it's as the reaction might be as strong as eating a red hot molten iron ball. um, so we must be careful. The question is appropriate, like Prabhu said. Um, but there's also like you go to the kitchen, there's fire. The fire can cook, it can light the house, it can warm the house, or you can burn the house down, or you can burn yourself in your hand in the kitchen. So we use the pot holder, and we're careful with fire.
I just heard a story about this devotee who became extremely wealthy, like overnight. It's a real story, and he's no longer interested in bhakti, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah, he divorced his wife and kind of took off. How did that happen? Was
well, there's
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu? Would you like to comment on that? Is that a common occurrence?
I was listening to the lecture of on these verses, and the devotee mentioned how um, the wife of Sudama Brahmana, how that did not happen to her. That happens in a very materialistic mindset that we get some wealth and then we realize, oh, I don't need this person, I don't need this. One devotee, he said, if I win the lottery, I'll give half to Krishna. This is a famous story that everybody knows in Australia. And he won the lottery and then he mailed his bead bag back to the devotees. He said, I don't need this anymore. And he didn't give anything. He didn't donate anything, but he was praying that he could win the lottery.
So what's
So
the remedy for that? How do we avoid that?
try to just become servants of Krishna, not pray for material things. Pray for what is best for my service.
Yeah, that's the best prayer. Krishna, you know what's best for me. Please guide me.
And then also we should engage our money in charity. Not that it's just a cent. Make it a practical thing that we engage our money in charity. It's very painful for this is one thing. It's easier to probably give our blood or something else, but to give our wealth, that's very, very difficult.
there's another.
Then it becomes it's
No,
like you offer not a picture of the food. You offer the food. You actually offer the item. So similarly, we offer our actual wealth, not just the sentiment of I'd like to give my wealth, but actually offer our wealth.
Tell it
Then
how it's
our work becomes service. Like the great associates of Srila Prabhupada in the early days, they're working all kinds of jobs, but their jobs were just ways to promote the mission of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, Jayananda Thakur, taxi driver.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu.
Mm.
Okay, let's all get ready for the darshan. Please turn on your cameras if you can.
Mm.
Lotus feet, spiritual master. Lotus feet with great honor. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from this house. Lotus feet. Probably said, is destroyed. Krishna sing of his character. His special master's the ocean of mercy. Friend of the poor, Lord and master of the world. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Take shelter for lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Jani Tai Prabhu. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vasudev Prabhu ki jai. Okay, back to Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Welcome to the Afterglow, dear devotees. Happy Friday. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from the Guru's mouth. Isn't that wonderful? That's the desire. Purify me, Krishna. I'm full of lust, full of other things, full of unwanted desires. But please make me want to be purified by the Guru, by the Guru's words. Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see reflection. Venetia is reflecting a heart. Thank you, Venetia. That is sufficient. That counts. Thank you. Yeah, Ram is impressed by the
Can we
comment.
see Ram?
Hey,
Can we
Ram
see Ram?
Darshan, please.
No.
This is the best way to keep him quiet. Ram, say hi. Say hi to the devotees. You want to go back to them? All right. That's his bhajan.
It's like Lord Indra. Lord Indra had this like nectar giving thumb or something.
Yeah, Ram is giving us a lot of nectar. He starts early, 5:30 in the morning. He starts giving out nectar. So good sadhana for us. Okay. All right. So concluding remarks, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, punchlines, please.
Be beggars to give out Krishna's wealth.
Thank you. Thank you. The wealth is Krishna's. He knows what's going on. So we should give it to others. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we need a childlike devotee to say Hare Krishna. Ram can't do it. He's too childlike. We need somebody who's just enough childlike to say Hare Krishna. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Krishna Gauda. Krishna Gauda.
Jumana Jaya too.
Oh, Jamuna Jaya. All right, Jamuna Jaya, go ahead.
Hare Krishna!
How nice. How
Haribo.
nice. Thank you.
Elf-like, elf-like, elf-like.
Elf like. Jai. Hare Krishna. Nice head, Jamuna Jaya. Nice head. Adi Purusha Prabhu, you're late. We're wrapping up. Thank you for your comment in class.
Wait, Josh wants to say something.
I'm just saying, I was just going to say, wait, don't hang up, because Adi Baruch, no one hangs up faster than Adi Baruch. So, yeah, you were talking about hanging up, but it might not happen for another minute. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But can we see Ram there? We can barely see him. Oh, look at him.
There he is.
Woo, doggies.
Wow, he's so big. Unbelievable.
He's growing like
Kind of looks like Adi Prabhu.
Yeah.
Uncle Adi.
We're giving him the name Avadut. Ram
Yeah.
Avadut. He's above all kinds of rules and regulations.
Yeah, just like Adi Purusha.
He's a love magnet. He just looks to see, does this person love me? This person love me?
Oh, he's talking.
Hare Krishna. Krishna's in your heart. Krishna's in your heart.
He's getting some teeth coming in.
Yeah, he's eating his father. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ram, for contributing to class. Thank you, Adi Purusha Prabhu Das. Thanks, everyone on this call. We're wishing you a wonderful day, wonderful Friday in Lord Chaitanya's movement. Hare Krishna. Nice seeing everybody.
All right.